Hello and welcome to 16th JMeter Training video tutorial. This is our first training session in the new year of 2016, and let's see what we are going to have a look at in this session. In this session we will see how we can do live test reporting for a test run using JMeter and Backend Listener. If you have not had look at Backend Listener so far, then you can have a look at one of my training tutorial which is available at seleniumtest.com 2015-12 real-time-JMeter-result-using-backend.html. I would also be posting this in the description of this video so you can access this URL easily. Following this, we will also see our test plans which we are going to use in this session. We will see how we can execute test and have the test results available in Grafana Dashboard and also through InfluxDB. Then we will disable the view results in Listener and execute test from command line. We will see Grafana Dashboard, analyze it, have a look at a couple of queries. We will also see how we can analyze test results for tests which are run in the past, also known as offline analysis. And then I will tell you how you can access project files. Alright, so let's begin. So first topic here is to see how we can use JMeter Backend Listener for your JMeter test plan which you would be using in your project. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can access it using this URL which is mentioned here. I can just open this page once for you. This page describes lots of initial preparation which you have to do to be able to use JMeter Backend Listener and have your test results available during runtime or have them analyzed after test run. So by and large, you have to set up two things which are InfluxDB, which is a time series database, and Grafana Dashboard. This is a very broad, very vast tutorial. So please go through this tutorial first and then watch this video so that you have these basic or these pre-setup requirements already completed before you could see live results of your test run. I have already done installation of InfluxDB and Grafana Dashboard, so I will continue from here. So I assume that you also have InfluxDB and Grafana Dashboard ready. If not, then just go through this tutorial. Alright, so now let's move on to the next point, which is a test plan which we are going to use in this session. So I have created a very simple test plan which is in fact based on the site seleniumtest.com. So I created a test plan for this wherein I am browsing through different URLs. Pretty simple. So let's see that. So this is the test plan. Many of the things we have already seen in previous sessions, for example, HTTP cookie manager, etc. But let's see some of the variables which we are using in this test plan. So in this test plan, the app URL is seleniumtest.com. We will run it for 3 users. We have ramp up period of 120 seconds and the duration is 240 milliseconds. 240 seconds. Okay, then we have something called thread group, which is going to specify number of threads. So this is something which we are taking as a variable which we have specified in test plan as 3 users. So this value is used here. Ramp up period is also a variable which is coming from test plan. Scheduler is not really required. Scheduler is indeed required here because we are taking the duration from the test plan. So then we have a constant timer because I am providing delay of 2 seconds here, and then couple of HTTP sampler. So first sampler is homepage, which is seleniumtest.com, a simple GET request. Second is the Selenium training page, which is a page with /p/free Selenium training on seleniumtest.com. Again a simple GET request, then a Java training page, then APM training page, and then JMeter training page. So these HTTP requests are very simple and basic requests. There's nothing complicated, no data driven, nothing. Then we have a listener called view results in tree, which we used in past test as well, and we are using here this as well. And then we have a new element called backend listener. You can add this listener by right clicking on the thread group listener, and then you have the backend listener here. Exactly. So I already have it. So let's have a look at its properties. Backend listener is something which would let you push your test results to a backend database. We are using here InfluxDB, which is time series database. So the queue size is by default 5000 here. The graphic metric sender is this class, which is coming from JMeter itself. The Graphite host is my local host because I'm running InfluxDB locally. The port is 2003. Root matrix. So this root matrix is a value which would be used in the InfluxDB when we have JMeter matrix stored there. We will have a look at this in a while. Summary only is marked to false. Sampler list. So I have total 5 samplers here from home page till JMeter training page, and I have specified all of these samplers as semicolon separated values. So data from JMeter would be pushed, or metrics from JMeter would be pushed for all of these variables. And then we have percentile, which is 90, 95 and 99. So I am taking 3 percentiles here. Alright, let's see what we have next. So what we are going to do now is we will enable view result in tree listener, which is already enabled, run our test and see what's happening. But before that, let me just start InfluxDB. So I'm going to start InfluxDB by specifying a config file which is available in this location. So InfluxDB has begun now. Yeah. So let me start test in a while and see what goes on. I am also running Grafana Dashboard. So I will navigate to Grafana Dashboard on my local host and see what we have there. So this is my Grafana Dashboard. Let me just refresh it. So this is where I would be gathering results from active thread or home page or Selenium training page and other samplers, and then some more parameters which we would see in a while. Let me change this timing to last 5 minutes and let me refresh it for every 5 seconds. So at this point of time, since we are not running any test, we don't see any value here. Now let me go to JMeter and start the test. Alright, so test 1 has begun now, and we would have data coming to Grafana, and we would also have data being pushed to JMeter Backend InfluxDB, which we are using here. So let me just log into this dashboard, to InfluxDB, and now I will navigate to JMeter Database. So JMeter is a database where data is being pushed from JMeter to InfluxDB. This is a time series database which has data coming for different timestamps. You could also compare it with any other database which you have worked, for example SQL or MySQL or any other, but the difference here is that it's a time series database. So let's see what measurements we have here. So if I say show measurements, then I can see a couple of measurements which are available in InfluxDB. And since we started our test earlier, our test is also running, and we have backend listener enabled. So metrics, the JMeter metrics for samplers would be pushed for home page, Selenium training page and so on to InfluxDB database. So let's have a look at that. Yeah, so I opened the measurements for JMeter database here. Now let's search for home page. Yep, so here we have a couple of metrics coming for home page, which is JMeter.homepage.a.count. So JMeter is the root matrix which we specified earlier, which is here root matrix prefix JMeter dot. So this is available here. Now here JMeter.homepage.a.count means all of the count or all of the requests which are for the home page. A max is all of the maximum response time. A min is all of the minimum response time. PCT9 is percentile 90 response time, followed by percentile 95 response time, percentile 99 response time, and so on. And then we have KO count, which is for the runs which are not successful, or we can say they are not okay. And then we have OK count, that is total number of successful requests. And then we have maximum response time, which is OK max, then minimum response time, and then the percentile time. In the similar manner, we have results being pushed for JMeter training page, and then JMeter Java training page, and so on. So let's pick up any of these metrics and query the data for it. So let's see Java training page, OK max, what we get. So let me just copy this. Let's go to the top section of the page and let's say select star from the matrix for which we want the value. Yeah, so these are the timings which are being pushed to InfluxDB right now for the matrix which we have taken, which is Java JMeter training page maximum response time for the successful request. In the similar way, you can query any of the other metrics which you want. So let me go back to measurements again and see the thread related counts here. So let me just see JMeter prefix again, and let's see where we have the count for the threads. Yep, so we have threads related count as ended thread, max thread, min thread, mean, and started threads. So let's pick up max active thread and let's query the InfluxDB database again for it. So I'll say select star from JMeter test max active thread, and then we have data which has come of our max active threads. Yep, that's about it. So at this point, so if you see here that we have about three threads run for the test which we are doing right now, and this is something which is we had specified here as user count 3. Okay, so looks like this test run was over. Well, it was pretty quick. It was run only for 240 seconds. And this is the data which was pushed in InfluxDB. Now this is the similar data which can be seen in Grafana Dashboard as well. But let me do one thing. Let me run the test again so that we see data being pushed in here again. But before doing this exercise, let me get back to one old practice which we learned earlier, that we should not run test from the JMeter front end. We should run the test from the command line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable view result in tree listener. We will not need it. I would keep only backend listener, which would be used to push results in InfluxDB, which would then be displayed on Grafana Dashboard. So I come to the command prompt, the terminator here, and I have a script called script2.sh, and this is the script which we are using to run the test. So here we have app URL, number of users, ramp up period. We want to save results in CSV format. We want to print the field names. Many of the properties are similar here as what we have seen in the previous test run. So let me run it from command prompt, script2.sh. So data would be pushed in InfluxDB again as usual, and then we would have this data coming up in Grafana Dashboard. So let's wait for this. Alright, looks like test has begun. We have 3 users now. Yeah, and we can also see, sorry, we don't have 3 users now. We have only 1 user. There is only 1 active thread, and we can also verify this from the Grafana Dashboard. So if you see here, active thread count is 1. And this is something which is being displayed here on the thread count section. We have JMeter max active thread as 1. Now this dashboard is pretty simple. You can also create this dashboard, or you can also use the JMeter or JSON file which I have linked in the description of the video to just copy this dashboard to your Grafana dashboard. Now let's see how these values are captured. So if I click on active threads, I can just edit this value and I can see what is being gathered here. So what is being gathered here is we are taking JMeter test max active thread, the last value for this, and then what we do here is we take the current value of last active thread. So this is how it is being printed here. So let's go back to the dashboard again. We still have only 1 active thread. We can also verify it from the command line, which we see here. We have, yep. All right, so looks like there was 1 active thread, and now we have 2 active threads. So we should see 2 active threads here as well. I think there is some delay, but in some time we would see 2 active threads here as well. So in the similar manner, we can see how results are being plotted for home page or Selenium training page, etc. So here we have home page set to 1 request per second here. So as you saw in the test plan, we have 2 seconds delay before each page is being requested. Hence we see request from time to time for all of the pages which we have here. And we also see now active thread count is being shown as 2. So we have 2 threads here. Now let's edit home page and see how this value is captured. So what we are doing here is we take jmeter.homepage.ok count and we sum them and then we group them by 1 second. And this is how home page count is displayed. And then in the similar manner, we have Selenium training page count displayed, Java training page, APM training page, and JMeter training page. So right now we see APM training page count is set to 1. You can also edit it and see how this is being captured. This is same as home page, which is jmeter.apm training page.ok.count. We sum it and time it or group it by 1 second. Let's go back. Alright, so we have all 3 threads running right now, which you can see here. And also on the command prompt, you can see here that we have all 3 active threads started. None of the thread has finished. If we come little down, then we can see more details. But before that, let's see how thread count is being printed here. So let me just click on it. Let me just edit it. Yeah, so here we have query set as jmeter.test.max active thread is the same what we have seen earlier, and I'm just taking the last value here. There's no grouping happening, and this graph is plotted here. Now let's see a couple of home page stats. So we have 4 graphs plotted here, which is home page request per second, home page errors per second, home page 95 percentile, and home page 99 percentile. So let's see home page request per second. How is this printed? Let's edit this. Yep. So what we do here is we say query as jmeter.homepage.ok count, and we take the last value here, and this is what is being printed on the graph which you saw earlier. If you see here, there's a count 1, that is 1 request being made, and then there's a dip, there's no request being made. This is because we have delay of 2 seconds in the test plan. And then we have home page error count, which is errors per second. This is set to 0, which means there is no error. Let's see how this is calculated. Let's edit it. So here we have jmeter.homepage.ko count. Ko is not OK count. And this is how this graph of errors is printed, which is of course 0 since we don't have any error. And then we have home page 95 percentile. Let's see how this value comes up. So it is the value of query jmeter.homepage.ok percentile 95, and we pick up the last value. Okay, looks like our test is over here, which is why we have the thread count returned to 0 scale here, since no more threads would be running. But let's continue our analysis and see what we have further down. Okay, similar to the home page, we have Selenium training page stats being printed here. So we have a graph for number of requests, which is similar to the home page. Then we have number of errors here, which is 0. Then we have 95 percentile being printed and 99 percentile being printed. Now, one interesting thing to notice here is that we can also combine multiple graphs. For example, what I have done here is I have created a graph for threads versus transactions. So let's see how this is coming. Let's edit it. So here I have added not 1 but 3 queries. You can add as many queries as you want. You just have to click the query button and then you can add more query. I will delete it for now. We don't need it. I have described all of these features in detail on real-time JMeter results using backend listener blog post which I made earlier on seleniumtest.com. So please have a look at that and then you would understand it better. Yeah, so let's come back to Grafana now and let's see how we are printing the multiple graphs here. So I have first query which is set to jmeter.test.max active threads, which is something which is going to print the maximum number of active threads. So I pick the last value from here, and then along with this I'm also going to take the count of number of requests for the home page as jmeter.homepage.ok count, and the count of number of requests for the Selenium training page, which is jmeter.seleniumtrainingpage.ok.count. You can add any other query. For example, if you want to see number of errors, if you have errors in your test, you can add that too, or you can also see the variation in percentile response time with respect to number of threads, which may be very interesting to see. Let's get back to the dashboard. So it looks like our test run is over, which is why we begin to see empty graph or nothing available here. But the advantage of using this approach is that consider that your test run is over, and you can also browse through back in time and see your results. Another advantage which you have here is that you can share this dashboard URL to any of your team member, and they can view the results in real time. They do not have to wait for you to update them about the test results, isn't it? So let's see how we can see test results of the past test runs. So we have to just click on the top section and specify any time duration which we want. So if I say last 15 minutes, then I would see results of all of the tests which were carried out in last 15 minutes. Or I can also specify a time very precisely. I can say any date which I want. If I have been running test for number of days, then I can specify any specific date, or I can just select any of the values which are available from the default range which is available here. For example, last 1 hour, what was happening in last 1 hour, then we can see the results for last 1 hour. Or I can just go back to the last 5 minutes run and see what happened in last 5 minutes. Well, looks like last five minutes is something for which we did not have any run, so I can change it to last 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Let me change it to last 10 minutes and apply. Yep, so this is a graph display which is for our last test run, which was for about 240 seconds, and it was begun with 1 thread, then 2 threads, then 3 threads, and then down to 0. And these were our different states. I have not printed all of the states here. You can print or display graphs for as many states as you want or as you find useful. Let's see if we have covered everything. Yeah, so looks like we covered everything. Now as far as project files are concerned, you can access them from Selenium Training project-file.html page. I would also link it to the description of the video, so you can access it from there. You would find test plan, the script which I used in this test, and the Grafana dashboard which is available here, which is a JSON file. And if you deploy Grafana, you can just import the JSON file and begin to build your own dashboard from this skeleton. Yep, so we covered backend listener in this session and how we can print the graphs for the real-time run, or we can analyze the test for the past test run using the InfluxDB time series database and Grafana dashboard. That's about it for this session. I hope you find this session educational, and if so, then please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Bye bye, keep learning, see you in next session.